Hi, I'm the Gadget Guru, Andy Parr, and you're watching TheVog.net. I'm here at JPM Performance Power Sports in Hopkinsville, Kentucky, and here with me is Cliff 02. Now, you've met Cliff before, and you've seen his victory cross country. Well, Cliff did a story on the Vog just a few weeks ago, and it talked about him test riding a number of victories at a demo day here at JPM. And Cliff, why don't you tell us about that and what happened that day?
Well, I came up here to help out because the people that run this dealership are really great folks. Everybody that works here, it's kind of like buying into a family. So I said, well, they're going to have demo days. Surely they'll be busy, and I'll come up and see if I can lend them a hand. So when I came up, he said, hey, how would you like to lead the demo rides? I know you use your head, you'll do things safely, and I'd like your help there. And what a great way to experience the demo days, because I wrote everything in the victory inventory.
Okay, prior to that demo day, how many different victory models had you ridden?
The only victory I've ever ridden is my cross country.
So prior to that, you rode it and you bought it, and you hadn't test ridden any other victories at that point?
No, I sure hadn't. I'm kind of afraid if I get on one and I really like it, I may end up getting my wallet out again, and that wouldn't work well at home this time around.
Okay, throughout the day, how many different models did you ride?
All of them, from the Vision to the 8-ball, Vegas 8-ball, the Jackpot, the Hammer, the Hardball, the Highball. I mean, I rode them all, and it was quite an experience.
How many miles did you log that day?
I logged about 225 miles a day doing the demo ride, so about 450 miles total between Saturday and Sunday.
Cliff, from what you told me before, the Vision was the first bike you rode, so I have an idea. Why don't we head inside JPM Performance Power Sports? Let's go look at the Vision while you're talking about, and all the other bikes you rode. What do you think of that?
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, let's head inside. Okay, this is the 2012 Victory Vision. Now, Cliff, you had said you had never ridden one of these before. Now, I have to ask you, when you first see a Vision, what is the initial thought?
Wow, that's a big bike. And that was really the first thing I thought when I saw the bike. Just looking at it with the amenities on it, that it's going to be comfortable, the windshield and the heated grips and the heated seat. But you just look at the size and the bulk of it, and it's like, I bet that thing handles like a pig. And it really doesn't.
Okay, give us your full review, because you put a lot of miles on this just in that one day. What's your full review of this bike?
This is an absolutely gorgeous and comfortable motorcycle. I mean, it rides like a dream. You would never, ever imagine that it would corner the way it does because of the size of it. And the thing corners like it's on rails. Handles really good. Seats comfortable. Ergonomics are great, at least for me. Like I said, the only thing I'd have to do is lower it a little bit. Storage is adequate. Not as much as my cross country, but the way I travel, I could make it work. So overall, this bike I knew it would be comfortable, but I didn't expect it to be as smooth and responsive as it was.
Now, how do you compare this to your cross-country tour? Because you have, I believe you said, more than 15,000 miles on your bike now?
Yes, I have 16,500 or so on my cross-country, and it's a great bike. I love it. This bike, however, is just that much better.
Do you think you see one of these in your future?
Yes, I got to work on my wife some on that one. And I'm not going to buy another bike without asking her this time.
So you learned your lesson last time around?
Yes, I did.
Okay, what was the next bike up that you took a ride on?
The next bike I took a ride on was actually the Vegas 8-ball.
Okay, why don't we go over there and take a look at it? Now, going from a Victory Vision, I mean, that's a big touring bike, to the Vegas 8-ball, was that a bit of a culture shock?
Yeah, it was. Number one, I got used to the fairing and the windshield. So jumping on this thing without a fairing and a windshield, and you start hitting a little speed, you start getting wind on your chest, it's quite a change.
What was your preconceived notion of the Vegas before you rode it?
I really didn't have one. I knew it would be quick because, the 106 motor in such a small frame. I knew it would be quick, but really I had no preconceived notions about the bike other than it would probably be a lot of fun to ride.
Would you have ever considered buying this prior to your test ride?
Yes, actually I would have. I've looked at them, I've sat on them, they're really comfortable, and it would be a great bike just to run around town or back and forth to work with. Okay,
so tell us about it. You just got off the Vision. You're here, a bunch of people around for the demo days. You jump on the bike. What happens with Cliff on the Vegas?
I get on the Vegas, I start it up, and I back it out, and the first thing I notice is how light the bike is. I mean, it doesn't weigh, compared to my cross country or the Vision or the Crossroads, as a matter of fact, it doesn't weigh hardly anything. So I jump on the bike, I take off, and the first thing I realize is I have to slow down because I have like 15 people behind me. And the bike is so quick and so responsive that you don't realize how quickly you're climbing up through the gears speed-wise. So I had to back off a little bit. And then I just kind of settled in and enjoyed the ride. And, you know, for a small bike, it rides remarkably well, stock from the factory just the way it is.
Now, you just called the Vegas 8-Ball a small bike. Now, let's look at the big picture. I know you've been riding for a long time. You've had a lot of bikes. Did you ever in your lifetime think that you'd be calling a 106 engine a small bike?
No, actually, when I grew up, you know, like a 450 Honda was a big bike. And we used to run them things everywhere. But the big motor, small frame equals a lot of fun.
Okay, your bottom line. What's your summation on the Vegas 8-Ball?
I would love to have one. Put a little package rack on the back, 2-in-1 exhaust, a little wind deflector in the front, and I think it'd be cool to ride back and forth to work and possibly take a road trip on if you're not going to go too far.
Really, you take a road trip on this, and this is coming from a guy you just, praise the Vision. You ride across country. You would consider taking this on a road trip?
Yes, I would. It may not be all that far, maybe 300 or 400 miles each way, but it's to me, it's a very comfortable bike ergonomically. And that's one thing that struck me about the Victories is they're very well designed. Out of the box, they fit most people pretty good. At least that's been.
And we're not tall people. And, it's like the 26.5-inch seat heights around most of the range or lower is pretty good for people our size or taller.
Yes, it is. And it makes it very comfortable. You can be flat-footed on it. It allows me, the foot pegs allow me just enough stretch, just the way they are from the factory, to lean out and be comfortable.
Okay, so the next bike up on Cliff's private demo tour is
the Jackpot.
Okay, why don't we go over there and take a look at it? Okay, the Vegas Jackpot. To me, this has always been a gorgeous bike. Basically, you're looking at a Vegas in the front and a Hammer in the rear. What are your thoughts on this bike?
Beautiful bike, but I'm not a big tire fan. I found that it changed the handling characteristics of it. It would take me a while to get used to. Now, if you want to give me one of these, I'll be happy to take it.
Is anybody listening?
Very, very nice bike.
Now, a lot of people talk about the fat tire handling. Again, we're going through the sequence of what you rode bikes that day. You've never ridden this bike before. How long did it take you to get used to the counter steering or the characteristics of this bike?
It took me at least 2 turns to get used to it because I found that I had to use a little more body English going into corners to get it to go the way I wanted, the way I'm used to cornering. And then when I came out of the corners, I had to pay a little more attention because it kind of wanted to stand up on its own, maybe before I was ready for it to do that. So, all in all, it took me about 2 trips to get used to it, about 16 miles.
Okay, what's the seating position like on this for you?
Seating position is very good. Again, it's like a Vegas. The seat height is nice and low. It sits nice. I can sit flat-footed. I think I was a little more comfortable on the Vegas, though.
Okay. How would you sum up the Jackpot?
Jackpot, if you want a boulevard, good-looking cruiser to cruise around town and get people's attention, this would be the bike.
So after the Jackpot, what was the next bike that you rode?
Next bike up was the Crossroads.
Right over here. Come on, let's take a look. Now, the Crossroads, this is one of those bikes that kind of got a bad rap when it started. But it seems that for whatever reason, over the last 12 months, the Crossroads has come into its own. I believe that Victory made some inline modifications, and now people are jumping all over this bike. You're a cross-country owner. What did you think of the Crossroads?
I thought the Crossroads is a really nice bike. It's a very nice riding bike. The only thing that I would want to change on it, maybe it'd be a little bit taller windshield because the buffeting that I got seemed to come from the top, on the top of my head. Other than that, it rode really nice. It handled really nice. So this is a cross country without the fairing on the front. So the front end's a little bit lighter, and it does change the handling characteristics of it a little bit. In fact, it's a little more responsive.
So it makes it more of a around-town bike?
Yes. Well, it makes it more of a around-town bike, but it's, the little lighter front end just makes it a little easier to manage at slower speeds too.
Well, also the tubular bars on this. Now, I heard this gets rid of some of the buffeting characteristics that were on the older cross countries. Do you agree with that?
I would agree with that. I think that the bars on the cross country like mine that make the bike the signature bike, they're cool, but they do generate some turbulence.
So what's your summation on the Victory Crossroads?
I like the Crossroads. I would not mind owning a Crossroads. I need a bigger garage, and the problem is when you do a demo days and you get to check all these bikes out, I didn't find one that I didn't like. So it's a very good bike. They all have their own personalities, but this is a very nice bike.
Okay. Now, I know you also said you rode a Hammer, and I have to tell you, the folks here at JPM, they sold the Hammer. I mean, bike sales have been really good here. In fact, you said they've been turning their inventory very quickly. But there's one more bike that you rode on the demo, and that is?
The Hardball.
And we happen to have one, by coincidence, right over here. When I first saw the pictures of the Hardball, when it was first introduced, I was kind of thinking, this is kind of the black sheep of the Victory family. It's, kind of has the bad image, the ape hangers. I've never ridden one. Well, why don't you tell me what your thoughts are on this bike?
This is a really nice riding bike, surprisingly nice, and I'm not an ape hangers kind of guy. I like my bars a little lower, where I can maybe lean into them a little bit. But this thing rides and handles really nice.
Really? Even with your fist forward position on that, is it pretty easy to handle around town?
It's real easy to handle, and the one good thing about it is you can adjust the bars back, so you can bring them back a little closer to you, which if I owned one of these, that's what I would do. I'd bring them back just a little bit closer, slap a set of their exhaust systems on it, and I'd be a happy guy.
Cliff's going to need a really big garage and a good line of credit.
I have expensive taste, and I'm really good friends with the bank, but I think that my wife is safe for the moment.
Now, comparing this to the other bikes you rode, if somebody's looking for a hardball, I mean, which buyer? Who is this for?
This is for this is for somebody that wants to make a statement, probably a little younger than me. They want to be able to have the option of either running around town and going to Hooters for bike night, or they want to be able to throw something in the bags and go away for the weekend. So I'd say the 30-somethings, this would be an ideal bike for.
And how was the comfort on it?
It was very comfortable. I mean, if you look at the seat is well padded and well contoured. And this has grown on me, the flat black has grown on me.
Now, did you ever in your life before think that you would kind of be gravitated toward an ape hanger bike?
No, I never thought I would be, and I would still not mind owning one of these, but there's some other ones that I'd rather have.
Okay, Cliff, we've gone through a lot of bikes here. What recommendations do you have to people that are coming up on a demo day, have a lot of choices? What should they do?
Well, it depends on what kind of riding you want to do. If you want to do primarily around town riding, you need to pick a Vegas or a Hammer or a Jackpot, because them really you're really well rounded, and they're bargain priced. I mean, they're very affordable. If you want to get into some mid-size range and cruising, this here, or you have the Crossroads. And if you really want to do the long haul, the cross country or the Vision. Yeah.
Now, I know we're running out of time. There's one bike that I neglected to mention. You did ride a Kingpin, and that one is sold as well. Do you have some brief thoughts on that?
Very nice bike. In fact, the Kingpin years back was what attracted me to start looking at Victory. The shape and the lines of it. Very nice bike. And you put a windshield and some bags on that, and that would be a good intermediate bike as well.
Well, Cliff, I want to thank you for your time. And I have to tell people, if you're heading up here, to the Middle Tennessee, Southern Kentucky area, there's some gorgeous riding up here. I mean, just coming in from Nashville today, it's so nice. It's what a breath of fresh air it is from Florida, where you have rolling hills and turns. It's really a gorgeous place. Not much traffic out here today, and it's just a pretty place to ride. So while you're up here, come in and check out JPM Performance Power Sports. Listen, this is one gorgeous dealership. They've really done a nice job here.
They've done a nice job, and it's a great dealership. Parts, sales, service, they take care of their customers.
Okay. Cliff, I want to thank you for your time. For the VOG.net, I'm the Gadget Guru Andy Parr, and I'll see you on the road and online.